Hi everybody, today we're going to be kind of running down how to play beer die. We're going to get down into how to set up the table, some of the generic rules that are pretty more common to play with, and then we're going to break down some of the more specific scenarios and their applications. So to set up beer die, you're going to need 4 red Solo cups with enough water to fill them up about halfway. You're going to take your hand and from the corner of the table, you're going to position the cup right off the middle finger in length. Right at about a 45 towards the center of the table. Then you're going to need 2 standard dice. This is what you'll be playing with. And then a drink of your choice. Each player will have their own drink. To start play off, the home team, who either consists of the team that owns the table or the team that won last, will offer the away team the opportunity to call high or low. Low meaning 1 through 3, high meaning 4 through 6. If the away team is correct, they get to throw first, and my team will defend, or the home team. And if they are incorrect, we will throw first, and they will play defense first.
So now for defense, the opposing team is going to be trying to throw the die 6 feet in the air, have it land on our table, and bounce off. Or hit the cup and bounce off, or go in the cup. And I can stop them from scoring if it hits the table or the cup and bounces off. If I catch it with one hand, then they get no points. So if I catch it with one, or if I try to catch it with one hand and I bobble it into my other hand, they do get the point because I did not keep going with the one hand. If I mess up the catch and it hits my body, again, they get the point because I did not catch it with just one hand. If I miss the catch and it bounces back on the table, they also get a point because I did not catch it with one hand. The only way to stop them from scoring is if it bounces and I catch it with one hand and only one hand.
So how defense is played is the other side of the table will have both dice, and each player will get an opportunity to throw. Again, 6 feet, trying to hit our side of the table. Once the die hits our side of the table, it becomes a live die, and it can go anywhere, essentially. How you prevent the other team from scoring points is you can commit to catching with one hand. So if you hit the table and it's coming off to the right and I catch it with my right, that's a dead die, they get no points. The catch is if it hits the table, I commit with my right, I bobble it, I have to commit with that same hand. I cannot come back in with my left. So with bobbles, you want to commit to the same hand. The other key thing is if it hits the table and then you trap it against your body and catch it, that's a dead die. That they get 1 point for that. Or if it hit the cup in your body, that's 2. So one more other piece of defensive advice: if it hits the table, you bobble it and it goes back onto the table, that's a point as well because you've killed the die by hitting the same side of the table again. So what ideally you want to do is just catch it on that first bounce right in the hand. So right now we'll give an example of what defense looks like. So the logistics of the throw break down that you can only throw it underhand. You're allowed to put spin on it as you throw it, but that's for a more advanced player. And the idea is you're throwing it underhand, again 6 feet minimum in height, and attempting to hit the other team's side of the table, ideally near the cup. So here's an example. How the scoring in beer die works is the team that is throwing will take turns throwing the die up in the air at least 6 feet in height with the attempt to make it on the other team's side of the table. And how the points break down is if it hits their side of the table and off to the ground, it's 1 point. If it hits anywhere on the cup and then down to the ground, it's 2 points. Or if it goes into the water in the cup and splashes, it's 3 points. So now you've learned the basics of beer die, both throwing and defending. Now to get into some of the more niche rules. First, we'll start off with drinking. Traditionally, beer die is played with a beer, and it is a drinking game. So how it works is the game is played best to 11, win by 2. And your team drinks when the other team has 5 and 11 points. And any 5 points after 11 because it can go further than 11. It is win by 2. So you'll take a sip at every 5 points and at 11 points. And then every time that the opposing team sinks one in your corner's cup, so if the person across me threw it, perfect, nailed right in the cup, splash, I would have to finish my drink and then start a new drink to continue playing the game. Next, to break into FIFAing. FIFAing is a more advanced rule, and it's a very fun rule to implement once you get the hang of basic beer die. So say the opposing team is throwing, it looks like their die is not going to hit the table, say it goes wide right here. I have the option to either let it hit the ground and it's a dead die because it didn't hit the table, or I can kick it. With beginners, usually you can use knee and foot. Once you get to more advanced, you use just foot, but you can use your lower extremities to kick the die or knee the die to your partner who can catch the die, upon which the other team that just threw loses a point. Traditionally how it's played, you don't go below 0 points, but you can, if you want to have a much longer game, you can allow it to go below 0. The catch is FIFAs can be chained. So if the die is errant, it's going off right, I kick it, my partner over here, it's coming over here, he or she kicks it back to me, and then I catch it, that's 2 points lost for the opposing team. And it's a really good way to keep honing your skills as a die player. Finally, one of the more niche ways to score in the game is if, say I'm on offense, I throw 6 feet, it's traveling across the table, it hits on their side of the table, and because of spin or just chance or luck, it starts to run back towards my side of the table, and the die comes off the table between the 2 cups and hits the ground before the opposing team can catch it. That's called a field goal, and it's 2 points. It's a fun way, again, to if you're trying to look, getting better at die. It's a good thing to practice, and it's really fun to play with friends that way. So now, me and Griffin here are going to do a live demonstration of how to play. We're just going to go back and forth a little bit, show you some offense, show you some defense, and hopefully, for those that are visual learners, it'll be a good lesson. So I'm going to be starting throwing. So traditionally, before you go, you say die up, so your opponent knows that you're going. So die up.
I caught it with one hand, so no points for him. And now I would throw.
And so you go.
Because he didn't catch it, I would get 1 point.
Yeah, and it would be my turn to go.
It didn't leave the table, so no points. Then my throw again.
Right there, I caught it, preventing him from scoring.
We'll be right back.